Yep. Thanks, Matt. Thank all of you for being here as always, and not only for everything you've done for our sport, but softball and all the other sports. So, and special thanks to you, Matt, for everything you do. This time last year, Kentucky Proud Park was like the main topic of conversation, so I'm going to start with that again. Very thankful for the amazing ballpark and love hearing all the comments from our fans and our alumni. That part's been good. Also want to mention that we're continuing to learn a new ballpark. It's obviously totally different than the Cliff. I wish I could sit here and tell you we've got it masters, and we don't by any stretch of the imagination. But a couple things that are definitely different about the ballpark is that I've learned over the last year is that run prevention is absolutely crucial to when we were at the Cliff. A lot of you understand and would know that run production was key. But in this ballpark, run prevention is obviously something really big. And with that said, we have 36 home games this year, the most ever. So we're excited about that. I don't know how excited some of you are for the February 19th game, but we are excited about that. You've heard me talk. This is our fourth year together. You've heard me continue to talk about the student, the person, and the player. A couple things about this team so far as students. Our team GPA this past semester was a 3.35 team. So proud of them for that. That's tied for the second highest in 18 years. So proud of our guys for that. And then as people, we make them give back and give back to the community. And this team has done 550 hours from August 15th to December 15th. They've donated 550 hours of community service. And if you guys know me, that's important. It's not okay just to wear the UK jersey. You have to give back. And they've done that. Proud of them. And then over the past 3 years, we've had 24 draft picks now. That's exciting. But this year's team, it's now for them and our opportunity to prove to them how good they are as players. So looking forward to that. A couple new staff additions. Dan Roselle is now our pitching coach, and Will Coggins our recruiting coordinator. Really enjoyed having those guys. Dan Roselle, his track record and resume is as impressive as anyone's. Long, tedious process this summer in that hiring process. A couple stats about him. His staffs have been in the top 50 in ERA. 7 of the last 9 years. 7 of the last 9 years. He's coached 11 guys that have made it to the big leagues, including Chris Sale. So he has challenged our pitchers to do 3 things, and he's challenged them to do a lot more than 3 things. But his 3 points of emphasis have been, number 1, you got to throw strikes. Number 2, you have to control the running game. And the third one is work extremely fast. So those are 3 areas that he's challenged them on. Will Coggin, recruiting coordinator, former player of mine, and actually coached with him at Mississippi State. Really neat because, we talk about family all the time, and Coach Williams, those of you know him, he coached me as a player, and I now have coached Coach Coggin. So it's kind of a neat little deal we have going on. But Coach Coggin is a proven winner. He is awesome teaching the swing. He's coached 2 different guys in the SEC that have won SEC batting titles, so I'm thankful for him and his experience there. But then also as a player, this guy's been in the College World Series as a player. He's an SEC champion coach. He, too, as young as he is, he's coached 11 guys that have made it to the major leagues already. So proven winner and just tireless worker. He is just constantly working. So, and then one other staff, Troy Squires is back with us. Those of you know him, former player here, ended up getting drafted, went on, played professional baseball. He has finished professional baseball and finishing his master's degree. So Troy was our first ever senior class award winner. So season tickets, this is my infomercial. I'm going to put on my marketing cap and do that for you, Greg. But single season and season tickets and single game tickets are on sale, $64 for general admission. I'm proud of myself. I had that memorized. You can go to ukbaseballtix.com for that information. So thankful for all of our fans. We have set and broken the top 10 record crowds in the history of the program the last 3 years. So thankful for Brian Monrovic and his team. And I was told that our tickets were mailed out last Thursday, so check your mailboxes. Marketing, Greg Herbert, thanks for everything you've done. We welcome along Brooke. We'll be with him this year. Couple SEC on Thursdays. It's going to be ladies' night. Ladies get in free, and it's going to be tailgating Thursdays. So we're encouraging some tailgating. We want to increase that at Kentucky Proud Park, so have an opportunity to do that. Friday nights will now be our main giveaway night, where we'll give away, what do we got? Aviator glasses, beach balls, cooking aprons, all those things. And now Saturday, the kids get to run the bases. So last year, if you remember, we had the kids run the bases Friday night, and it was my understanding that we had a bunch of terrors on Saturday morning because of the night game. So we have made that adjustment, and we will now have the kids run the bases on Saturday. And then, of course, Sunday will be our team autograph. So we'll do that. We continue to have youth teams run out in the field with us. You guys know how important that is to me. Youth teams get in free. We teach them how to stand for the national anthem the right way and respect our country and those protecting it. So we do that, and they get an opportunity to take the field with the Cats. So we'll continue to do that as long as birthday parties. We'll have lots of birthday parties. So, all right, as far as the team goes, different feeling this year compared to last year. I made the comment that I felt like we were starting over last year, just so many new faces, and knew it would be hard. But sometimes until you go through it, you don't know how hard it would be. And it was an extremely difficult season, as a lot of you know. But we were close last year, but just for whatever reasons, we had 7 games in our league where we lost by 1 or 2 runs, and we just could not close the door. But last season, for example, we had 2 guys with 85 at-bats or more. That's all we had. And this year, we actually have 8 guys with 90 at-bats or more. So offensively, we'll have a ton more experience. We have now experience at catcher, first, second, short, and any outfield, which we didn't have. And you know what? That's a big deal. And this league is not forgiving, as you guys know. And when you don't have experience, it's really hard. And it was frustrating. I have this example I want to use with Reeves. And my wife, Kristen's an amazing mom. And Reeves is 5 years old now. And early in the year, he had tie shoes. He calls them tie shoes. The Velcro's gone. So he now has tie shoes, and he wanted to wear them to school. And Kristen said, you can only wear these to school if you know how to tie them yourself, because the teacher can't tie them. You got to be able to do this yourself. So I remember one morning he felt like he had it, and he put his shoes on, and he's tying them, and it's not going good. And as a father, it was really hard to watch him just fail, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't get in there, and I couldn't tie his shoes for him. And I just watched him, and I watched the frustration set in. And you know what? It was time to go, and he could not wear his shoes to school that day. In a lot of ways, that's how I felt about our team last year as a coach. Man, my heart hurt. We tried, and we moved pieces, and we kept giving guys opportunities, and it just didn't happen. And now that they have the experience, that experience should speed up their learning curve, and some things should happen for a lot of those guys. And I'm thankful and excited that they're here, and I'm getting a chance to watch it and be alongside with them. So speed, we're going to have some team speed. This may be the fastest team I've ever coached. So stolen bases is going to be key. And the speed, you've heard the saying, speed doesn't go in slumps. So that should be good. And it should really help us on the defensive side as well. Pitching, as far as pitching goes, one mentality that I want to compliment Coach Rozelle on is he has basically challenged our pitchers to be the tip of the spear. And that it starts with them on the mound. And he has just done a phenomenal job. And that's a direct reflection of him and the mentality that he has put into our pitching staff. So thankful for that. Let's talk about some of the guys. Zach Thompson's gone, unfortunately. Wish we had him back. He's been back training. It's been good to spend time with him and watch his growth. But we have 0 seniors on our pitching staff. We have 6 seniors on our team. They're all positional players. So the only senior, I'm talking about athletically now, not academically. We don't have any seniors, but Carson Coleman's the one guy that has the most experience. And he ended up getting drafted this past June, decided to come back. He's going to graduate in May. He will be a key piece out of our bullpen, as he's been basically his entire career. Jimmy Ramsey's back. His body has changed dramatically. Want to compliment Coach D and our staff and our nutrition staff on helping him and his commitment to his body. It's better. He's more confident as a result. He does have a swing and miss slider, but his changeup, Coach Rozelle's really helped him with his changeup. So Mason Hazelwood's back, had a great summer in the Cape Cod League. He is a guy we're going to count on. He's been great this fall and this spring. Daniel Harper led our team in appearances. He's kind of done a little bit of both since he's been here. He's thrown out of our bullpen. He's been dramatically better, and his fastball velocity is increasing, and it's doing good. And then a couple sophomores, Dylan Marsh, Alex Deegan, Braxton Cotton Game, Hunter Riggsby, and Cole Daniels are all back, and they got a ton of experience last year, should pay dividends this year. And 2 freshmen that have really stood out on the pitching side, Cole Stupp and Zach Lee, have been really, really impressive. Ben Jordan continues to stay with basketball. Figured I'd save the question. He's going to stay with them until the season finishes, and he's going to continue to take elbows from Nick Richards and Bloody Noses and continue to help our program. Ben, it's been really neat. He's throwing bullpens now with us once a week, and just to see his body, how changed he is, and then to be around a Hall of Fame coach and coaching staff, it's made Ben better. And so we look forward to getting him back when basketball finishes. I'll spend some time on some of these positional players. TJ Collette is back, and he's healthy. Had another surgery this fall, but his body looks great. He's in great shape. He has elite power, as all of you know. He actually led the Cape Cod League this summer in home runs. So he is just an unreal teammate and human being. And then Jaron Shelby, I'm going to talk about 3 seniors. Jaron Shelby, Braden Daniels, and Elliott Curtis. We need those guys to be like Luke Heyer and Luke Becker and Ryan Shin, to where their senior years, they put together their best years. And we're counting on those guys to do that. Austin Schultz is back. Schultz suffered an injury towards the end of our last season, played very few games this summer, and Austin didn't get an opportunity to play this fall, but he's back, so he, in a lot of ways, is playing catch-up. But he's extremely talented, and he'll be a big piece. We had 3 guys playing the Cape Cod League this summer and win the Cape Cod League championship, which is a big deal. You want your players to experience championships, not only where they play, but also in the summer. So Cam Hill did that. He's just an amazing baseball player, spent more time in left this year. Left field, we have learned, is extremely difficult to play at Kentucky Proud Park, so look for Cam to play a lot of left field. And then Colton Kessler and Tanner Holland will be our 2 catchers that will man behind the plate. Colton Kessler is one of the 3 guys that also won the Cape Cod League championship. And then 2 newcomers to watch, Raja New, junior college transfer, who also won the Cape Cod League championship, and freshman John Rhodes. Those 2 guys have been very, very impressive. Last 2 things, where I'll talk about our schedule. Extremely challenging again. We open up at TCU next Friday. They've been to Omaha a bunch of times, and I think it's going to feel a lot like at 17 when we opened up at North Carolina. I just wanted our team to be battle-tested right away. And speaking of battle-tested, we'll be battle-tested again. 15 of our first 18 SEC games are against teams ranked in the top 12. 15 of our first 18 SEC games. And then we get the challenge of opening it up at Vandy, the national champion. So looking forward to that challenge come SEC play. I want to thank our alumni, all the ones that we've had back in the past year to see the ballpark. It's been awesome. It's their program. Thank you for embracing it and being a part of it. That part's been good. And then, even a lot of the pro guys coming back. Just as I walked over here, there's a bunch of guys down there throwing bullpens. So to have all those guys back has been really neat to spend time with them. So I'm looking forward to an exciting and challenging season. And questions? Thought I'd open up for questions.
Fire away, Josh.
Bring it back to Carson Coleman. Got drafted and came back. How important a piece is he to be to the bullpen, choosing to come back?
Yeah, it's huge because he's been in a lot of tight games and big situations, and it's one of those things where those experiences are only going to make him better. But for him to be able to just go on to professional baseball, I think there's a part of Carson. Number one, he wanted to be able to graduate, so he'll do that this May. And God willing, he'll be drafted again and go out to professional baseball, having to only work on 1 career instead of 2, right? But his maturity is just incredible. He worked our camp. We had a prospect camp on Sunday, and just to watch him interact with some of those campers and run it, I just have such a piece about him, that how much he's grown. Because 3 years ago, I don't know if he'd been able to do that. And he'll be ready we'll equip him and launch him into professional baseball. But as far as this year's team, it's going to be extremely valuable.
You mentioned this team's a lot faster, maybe the fastest you've ever coached. So will we see more, hit and run, bunt and run, steal, because the stadium is home run prevention?
Yes, look, you have to prevent runs, and anytime you can create pressure. Look, Brian, that turf is faster. We've had to change the way that we give our guys ground balls. We now have our fungo hitters up close, just hitting rockets at them because the ball gets on you. And that speed will be extremely important. The stolen bases are going to be important. Our ability to go first to third will be extremely important. So all those things, just to do whatever we can to get an extra base, because the obviously run prevention, as I mentioned, is going to be key. Yep.
It looks like in the media guide there's some high expectations for John Rhodes as a new guy coming in. What's he done to catch your eye?
Yeah, good question, Derek. He's just so talented. He's might be one of the top 2 or 3 fastest guys on our team. He's probably in the top 5 in power. I'm going to go on and say he has the strongest arm in our infield. So when you break down his tools, the run, the hit, the field, the throw, the power, he really has it all. And to go along with that, he is a tireless worker. Derek, that guy just lives in our facility, on our batting cage, on the turf, taking ground balls. He is wired right. And to go along with it, the guy made a 4.0 this past semester. He has every tool that you need, and he's extremely talented. And I'm really looking forward to coaching him.
It says infield, outfield for him. Where do you think he might settle in?
He'll start out in the infield because we have so many guys like Braden Daniel that could move around, and we want to be respectful to TJ and just keep him healthy. So TJ is going to end up playing first base, and maybe when he doesn't play first base, maybe Braden Daniel could slide in there. John Rhodes could maybe go to the outfield, but right now for John, most of his time will be spent in the infield.
In terms of a potential lineup, do you feel like this is one of your more balanced teams in terms of left-right switch hitters?
Yeah, there's a chance we could have 3 switch hitters in the lineup at times. But, I've always talked about you got to be able to have guys that can actually fly and burners. I feel like we have those. You got to be able to have guys that can hit doubles at any time and then homers. And we do, Darren. You've been out there and you've watched. There's a great balance of lefties and righties. And now my challenge is going to be to find what's the right order and who's the right personnel. And because now we do have some guys with some experience, and just trying to get the right order is going to be key for us.
The pitching staff of the returning guys from a year ago that got their feet wet, really struggled. Who made the biggest jump, you think?
It's Jimmy Ramsey. Mentally, physically, and under Coach Roselle's tutelage, his ability to just improve his changeup, Brian. So now he's not, a 2-pitch mix to every guy, but he's a 3-pitch mix to both lefties and righties. And but it started with him, with the commitment that he made to his body, and it's really carried over into all phases. Yeah.
When you were hiring pitching coach this summer, what were the main things that you were looking for considering around the staff of someone experienced?
Yeah, good question, Derek. So there was a bunch of things. I continued to go to our house. I wanted someone that was committed to family. So I had the opportunity to fly to Coach Roselle's house. He has 3 kids. He has 2 daughters and a son. So really his interview, besides the phone interviews, was done in his house with his entire family. And got a chance to sit in his living room and watch and see what kind of husband he was and what kind of dad he was and the way he interacted with his kids and all that. But number one, he brought the term tip of the spear. I wanted someone that could just teach our guys to be the most competitive people on the entire field, because it starts with that guy on the mound. When the game is going on, the first person, and really that all of us are looking at, is that pitcher. And sure enough, I wanted someone that can teach them and had that mentality of competitiveness. So, and then obviously our ability to throw strikes. This ballpark demands you throw strikes in it. You cannot just sit out there and walk guys. And then obviously someone that would want to work quick. And so he checked off a lot of those boxes. Yep.
Nick, Rachel talked about the alums that have shored up her program. You had a lot of guys come back and work out here, the guys that are playing pro ball now. How does that help your program, and what kind of effect does it have on your current play?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's amazing. Like just yesterday, this is sometimes surreal for me. Colin Calgill was in yesterday, and he's taking BP on our field, and we're just hitting. And just to think I coached him here however many years ago. But this fall, we've had so many guys back. Zach Rex has been back. Right now I left. Trevor Gott's throwing a bullpen. Zach Logue's down there. Logan Salo's in there. Even Lex Antoni and Walker Buehler's down there throwing. Zach Brown's throwing. Connor Hetty has been back. We've had so many guys, and just to spend time with them. And then even for our players, just to see them down there and to see what it looks like is so important, because every one of our players, that's where they want to be. They want to be in professional baseball. They want to be like Trevor Gott and be in the big leagues, right? They want to be, where they're sitting there and they're watching Colin Cowgill and all these guys. So it's just a big deal. And the fact that they all come back and want to come back, that's a big deal. And I think for our players, just to be around them and see them, and then for them to even know, like, hey, this ballpark is built for them, right? Come on. Just keep coming. This is their program. It's been neat. It's been really neat.
Nick, I see you so energized sitting up there. With your initial success and then with the building of the ballpark, I saw a lot of people come to Kentucky baseball games that normally didn't have interest. What do you want to tell Big Blue Nation out here to be able to kind of keep that momentum going or recapture that momentum?
Yeah, well, number one, that, we're into the development of our student athletes. Like, that is so important. And that when they come out to watch us, like, hey, these are guys that have been held accountable and they continue to do things in the classroom. Just our deal. Just, they have a 3.35, right? But also, hey, look, they're good people. They're going to give back. And then as players, but ultimately, like, they want to win and we want to win. So our fans create a winning environment. I'll never forget that crowd standing on their feet, and you were there, right, John? Like in that regional where we're about to go to Super Regional, and that crowd is singing Sweet Caroline, and it's like the other team is just rattled and frustrated. When we need a double play, bam, we get a double play, and Riley Mahan's high stepping, and he's running off the field, and it's like our fans help create that. But these guys are just, not only are they great human beings, like they want to win, and we want to win, and by them coming to the ballpark, John, they help us win, and we need them, You mentioned the new earlier. Yes.
What things have you seen from him?
He is a professional hitter, a Raja New professional hitter. He's been drafted 2 times. Father played football at Florida. Mom was an Olympian sprinter. Just an amazing hitter. He can flat out hit, and man, I don't want to jinx him, but we need him to keep getting hits when we open up next Friday. But just a professional hitter.
TJ's a guy who's seen it all, some of the highs and lows under you. How important is his leadership going forward?
On who's this?
TJ.
Oh, yeah, he is the voice. He's the guy that, the players feel comfortable going to. He's the guy that just shows up in our office and hangs out and spends time with us just because. And he's been here 4 years. He's been here 4 years. Of our 6 seniors, him and Zeke Lewis are the 2 guys that have been here for 4 years. And the other 4 guys were junior college transfers. So he just has a ton of experience, and he's just comfortable in his own skin. That's the beauty of TJ. So guys, go to him for anything. They just feel comfortable. Coaches, players, everyone. He just makes everyone better. He has that unique ability to make people better. And the stuff he does at the Children's Hospital with the kids coming to our ballpark, with the NICU and the Kentucky Children's Hospital, it's really amazing. I hope I get an opportunity to coach another guy like TJ Collette, because his heart and his talent and just, he's special. There's no doubt.
What are your expectations for Ben Jordan when he does come back?
Yeah, so we'll ease him back in. Obviously, their guys' health is always so important to me. But his bullpens, his last bullpen was really good. So we won't waste much time. Once basketball finishes, let's hope it's a really long time from now. But we won't waste any time. We'll get him face some hitters at practice or whatever, and we're going to throw him right into the fire wherever that spot is. But he'll start out of the bullpen.
Obviously, last year you had to replace all those draft picks in the tough season, but what have you seen this year that does give you confidence that this year could be better?
Yeah, just the way the guys carry themselves. Coaching is I'm learning a lot like parenting. And sometimes in parenting, I've realized that sometimes you just got to keep saying the same things over and over, right? And just whatever's most important to you, right? And we talk about family winning in all areas of their life and the development piece. And I don't feel like we've had to repeat ourselves as much, and I felt like a year ago with all those new people, it was just everything was brand new, and it was just and those guys competed so hard, so thankful for their competitive spirit. But we're not repeating ourselves, and we're able to move on to different levels now. And that comes with them even being comfortable in their own skin, having done something for the second time. Guys like Jaron Shelby, just way more comfortable in his own skin. And, they're the ones that got to play the game, and it's our job as coaches to prepare them. And, man, when they get it, like Reeves tying that shoe, and he's ready to go off to school now with his tie shoes, it's much like our players. It's like, man, they've been through it now. And, man, as hard as it was to just sit there and want to help them, and we couldn't. They just needed to keep playing. That same experience and that confidence should bring them and help them this year.
It looks like you're going to have to grapple for a little while to put together a weekend rotation and settle into one like you did last year. And I know every program deals with this, but what has been the challenge in terms of recruiting, of building that pitching staff to where you can settle into a stronger rotation?
Yeah, well, our first 2 years, I mean, we really pretty much used the same 4 starters, right? We had Jelly, we had Zach Loke, who ended up being a top 10 rounder and going, and then we threw J-Lou. Well, year 2, we had Jelly sitting there again. We had J-Lou, and all we did was move ZT from the midweek to right there. So we had the same rotation. That was one of the strengths of those teams. Well, that was great at the time, but who was getting the starts while that was going on? So last year, obviously, we used Dylan Marsh, right? We got a chance, Jimmy Hazelwood. So those guys will have opportunities to have some experience now, and then we need, obviously, that experience to benefit. So some of those guys will be right in the mix of who's going to start for us. Yeah.
Anything else?
Thank y'all. Go Cats.